Welcome to the arm wrestling machine. This is my second and final project due by the end of the year. This system contains a Micrologix 1100, 2 Rhino power supplies, 2 Automation Direct relay coils, a Automation Direct green light, a load cell amplifier along with the corresponding S-beam to measure the force the user is putting on the arm, a delta drive that'll move from left to right, making it easier or harder for the challenger, and lastly, our banner OTBA5 sensor, showing when the user has enabled the game. Now that you know about the components used, let's take a look on how this system actually works. When you first enter the game, you'll be prompted with the login screen. As you go to log in, you will need your provided credentials to activate the system. Here we are logging as the operator. The operator is our highest level of security, and they can view things that others cannot. After entering the correct username and password, a button will appear allowing you to navigate to the main screen. On the main screen, you can see we have a trending tab. This tab is only available for the supervisor. Let's log in as the janitor to see the difference. The janitor logs in the same way as the operator, just with different credentials. After putting in the right credentials, we will see the navigation button for main show up. Once we click that, we can see there is no trending page available. That is the only difference between the operator and the janitor. Now if we take a look at our main screen, we have 4 buttons that will navigate us to different pages, such as easy, normal, hard, and trending. And we also have 3 maintain push buttons, such as HMI started, system enabled, and auto reset disabled, that we will talk about later in this video. Now let's navigate to our first mode, which is easy mode. Before we play each game, we will need to reset the machine. On this screen, we have a numeric string value, a reset button, a main navigation screen, and a start easy mode button. The challenger must reach the set point of 50 to win the match. The graph on screen will go down all the way to its original set point of baby. Then the user can start the match. To start the match, you must place your hand in the banner light sensor, which will then activate the game, and then you may begin pulling. Once you activate the machine, you will then have 10 seconds to reach the level of champion to win the game. As you can see in easy mode, it does not take much effort to go from the set points of baby to champion. Once the 10 seconds is up, the game over will flash on screen, letting the operator know that the game is over. After each game, you must reset it back to its original value before another game can be played. Now let's take a look on an actual challenger trying the easy mode out. The challenger walks up to the game, enables the machine, and begins pulling. As you can see, the user beats easy mode very quickly. Now let's take a look at our normal mode. In normal mode, you can see we have all the same information that was on the easy mode screen. With our reset, start normal mode, main screen, and numeric string value, we hit the start normal mode button to reset the gauge all the way down to its baby set point. The challenger begins pulling, and as you can see, it is a little more difficult than easy, but not overly complicated to beat. Once your game is over, the game over will appear on screen and begin flashing to let you know you need to release the arm. After this, the operator would then grant you your prize of 2 pieces of candy for beating the normal mode. Just like in easy mode, the operator must remember to reset the game before another challenger can try it. Now let's go into the lab to see how normal mode looks. The user approaches the machine, places his hand in the banner sensor to start the game, and then begins pulling. As you can see, normal mode offers a little bit more of a challenge. Now we will navigate to our final mode, which is hard mode. As you can see, it follows the same setup as our last 2 modes, with a main button, a reset button, a start hard mode button, and a numeric string value. The challenger must wait until it has reached its baby set point before they can play the game. Once they begin pulling, you can see that it takes a lot more strength to reach the Giga Chad level. The user needs the full 10 seconds here to finally reach the Giga Chad level right before the game ends. As you can see, after the 10 seconds, the game over will flash on screen, letting the operator know that the time is up. Then the operator must reset the game mode before another user can try it out. Now let's take a look at a user trying out hard mode in the lab. The user repeats the same steps as before, walking up to the machine, activating it, and then pulling as hard as he can. It takes almost the full 10 seconds, but finally the user gets it. Now let's take a look at our final navigation screen, the trend page. The trending page shows how many times easy mode, normal mode, and hard mode was played. The graph counts up by 1 each time someone plays our game. At the end of the day, we can click the Reset Earnings button, which will reset our values back to 0 so we can see the income for the next day. Now let's take a look at our HMI Started and our System Enable buttons. When you disable the HMI Start, you can see here that the easy mode is not playable because our HMI system is no longer active. Once you reset the button to an on condition, our HMI will be active and now the user can play easy mode. Now let's take a look at our System Enable button. If the system is disabled, just like the HMI Start, the system is not playable and no one can use it. Once you re-enable the system, you can see that it will become active and begin resetting the machine. Now let's take a look at our last button, which is the Auto Reset button. When Auto Reset is enabled, the reset button will no longer appear on the screen. The game will function as normal, allowing the user to start the easy mode and having it go all the way down to its baby set point. Same as before, the user will have 10 seconds to beat the game. Once those 10 seconds are up, the game over will flash on screen for 2 more seconds, allowing the user to release the handle, and then it will auto reset. This gives the operator the option to not have to sit there and manually reset it after each and every game. Next, we'll take a look at my CAD drawings. First, we have our conceptual drawing. Next, we have the load cell amplifier drawing. After that, we have the Micrologix 1100 PLC inputs and outputs drawing. Then our OTBA5 banner sensor that's on top of our table to activate the game. Here's the power from plug-in drawing. And finally, our start, stop, forward, and reverse relay coil drawing. Now let's take a look at our PLC routine. This first page contains information like our SCP, our banner light sensor, as well as when the pulley is going left or right. Our next routine contains the latching logic for each our easy, normal, and hard and reset, as well as timers and counters for each of those as well. This page is using greater than and less than statements to move the scale and lift to its desired set point. Next, we have our Excel documentation. This page has a project description, a project plan, environmental concerns, system power, scan time, as well as high speed requirements, and network protocol. Then we have our conceptual drawing that you already saw in CAD, our parts list, which provides detail on each part used, things such as signal, amperage, and a description, our I/O map that provides the inputs that we used in this program, the list of outputs that we used in this program, as well as the timers and the counters that we also used. Now we will take a look at our bill of materials. This provides a picture, a part number, how many of them were used, as well as a link to where you can find the component, along with each device's price. Next, we'll take a look at our materials list. This includes stuff like wires, pipes, screws, nails, some of the less important stuff, but it is still needed. Now let's take a look at the arm wrestler user manual. The user manual is basically a written version of everything that I've showed you in this video. It has a dedicated page to each one, such as the security page, the main screen page, along with a paragraph explaining some more information, the easy page with some information there. Keep scrolling, we'll get to the normal page, keep going, get to the hard page, which is various information that helps the operator run the machine, our trending tab, and then as well as the game over. Here's a summary of the arm wrestling machine. This just talks about the components inside the system and the different modes it has and how it all comes together to work. Next, we'll take a look at what went well and what needs improvement. Personally, I followed along with my punch list very well, I felt. I was also less distracted being in the other classroom away from everyone. Also, being isolated from everyone helped me problem solve and figure stuff out on my own rather than asking a classmate. Stuff that still needs improvement, I feel. Even though I was still focused during class, working on the project outside of class was still very hard for me. It was better than last project, but it still needs to be better. My work with schematics for relays needs to improve a little bit as I shorted out my circuit. Given more time, I would like to make the controls box bigger, as well as figure out what is wrong with my scale, because often it catches and gives a false reading to the user. Lastly, we'll talk about my final summary. First off, I had so much fun with this project. I've always loved arcade games and carnival games like that, so it was really fun to get to kind of design and build one. Originally, this wasn't my second project. I was working with a software called VT SCADA. So after a couple weeks of playing with that, Josh and I both agreed that it was time to switch to this one. This made me very nervous about the May 2nd deadline, but luckily I was able to grind it out and finish this one as well.